My name is Maurice Davis. I'm 52 years old. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. I was sentenced for killing Charles and Glendora. Uh, I was sentenced to life without parole for both murders. I think I met Charles when I was 9 years old. They're like 2 or 3 years older than me. So I met him when I was 9. We grew up, you know, doing kid stuff. You know what I'm saying, especially in the projects. Um, so uh, we did a lot of stealing, young, doing. Then when drugs came out, we started selling drugs together. And then in the probably about 87, 88. This is after my sister had a baby, Satoria, in 87. 88, we moved back up to Omaha. He was a boxer. He turned a professional boxer in early 97, but he wasn't able to really get any money. My niece had started living with him because she was having problems in school. So my sister sent her down there. He just got out of prison, so they were spending time together. And I would go down every weekend, basically. I would go to Texas. But I would stop in Kansas City because my sister would ask me to drop money off for, make sure that my niece was taken care of. So in the process, what I'm saying, Charles would bring up different types of hustles for me to help him. He didn't trust anybody because he'd been in prison. A lot of guys was snitching basically, and he knew I was a stand-up guy, right? So he asked me to start helping him, and at first, I was doing my own thing. I didn't want to go commit another crime while I was committing a crime. You know what I'm saying? I'm like doubled, about to get in trouble. So I continued to do what I was doing, and I eventually ran into a problem. I ended up catching a case, right? They took all my drugs and money, and I was broke. And when he brought it up again, I jumped on it. That was an opportunity for me to get back where I was at. So he asked me to help him commit it was a robbery. It was supposed to be a robbery, but it ended up being a burglary. We burglarized a drug dealer's house, and I ended up keeping all the drugs, and he kept the money, and we separated from there. When I come down to Kansas City to take Charles up on the offer, I don't have any. I'm from Omaha. And I drive down to Kansas City. He gives me a disguise article, right? When we finish the job, I give it back to him. The last time I seen Charles was maybe a week before he was killed. I was traveling to Texas, and I stopped in Kansas City, and I was doing illegal business. I stopped in Kansas City because I was trying to hook up with an old friend that we grew up with. I stopped at Charles's mother's house. I think his mother was there at the time when I stopped. I wasn't able to cop the drugs. I took Charles back to his mother's house. I dropped him off. I went to Texas, and that was the last time I seen him at his mother's house. The prosecution argued that I was guilty as an accomplice. He suggested that I was outside because they found a scarf with my DNA on it 3 blocks from the crime scene. So they said because they found the scarf, it was presented as a disguise article. They said that proves that I was near the crime scene, and he says that I was I waited in the getaway car to avoid being seen at the crime scene. At the time, I had told my trial lawyer about it, and he argued that Charles must have stored it in a box. My niece says that when the guys who killed Charles, when they left, they took 2 boxes out of the house. So my lawyer tried to argue that this is probably the way that it got outside. It was in one of the boxes, and they discarded it when they were leaving, things that they were just tossing out.
So tell me, do you think that the boxes had contained Charlie's gear or money or?
Yeah, I mean, if they took it out, it's probably some type of paraphernalia or some other crime that he committed. You know what I'm saying? The response. This is what I think. The response. That's the reason why he was killed, to another crime that he committed. The 2 witnesses that were not present was my alibi witness and Another witness that was outside that lived in the neighborhood, he lived on the same block where the crime took place, actually across the street from this vacant lot. And the reason why that witness, obviously my alibi witness, is important. I was in Nebraska at the time at home. It was my wife. Her name is Larissa Minix. All right. The guy outside though, I just know him because of the police reports. And his name is Derek Hopkins, I believe. The reason why he was important was because the prosecution's theory was that I was guilty as an accomplice because I was waiting out in the killer's car. This guy lived right across the street from a vacant lot on the corner of 80th and Michigan. And he says that it was a suspicious vehicle backed in this vacant lot at the time. He walked past the vehicle, walking down the street, and well, let me back up. The police report says that he heard a door getting kicked in or something while he was walking, and he seen this car, right? Said he walked about a block or two further, and he went, I think it was his girlfriend's house he was going to, and he didn't think nothing of it. When he was coming home the next morning, he sees the police everywhere, and this is when he find out that a crime took place, right? So I guess he reports the vehicle that was seen. At that time, there's another vehicle. I guess the perpetrators of the crime took Charles's car and drove it away from the crime scene, and police found it abandoned about a block away, adjacent to the vacant lot where he sees this suspicious car. It doesn't even make sense with the prosecution's theory that I was waiting in the car. Why would they take Charles's car if I was waiting in the car? It doesn't make any sense. And also that if I was waiting in the car, why would I be wearing a disguise article?